How do you conveniently bring a light source with you when you're on an adventure that isn't easily breakable and doesn't ruin your night vision? The answer is one of these. Greetings adventurers, my name is Kramer, and on today's episode of A Forgotten Adventuring Gear, we are talking about not the candle, but the thing holding the candle, which is a miner's spike. Back in the days before the advent of electricity or even having a candle attached to your helmet, miners who were going for coal or some other resource under the ground would use an implement like this in order to put candles inside the walls of the cave they were mining in so that they were able to see. And given that adventurers are so often delving into dark, deep dungeons in search of loot, this seems like a very applicable tool. And while this specific shape is not necessarily found anywhere in our own historical medieval period, there are examples of candle holders that share some commonality with this from the medieval period in that they simply nail into a piece of wood. And there are lots of different ways that you can use a tool like this, not just for holding candles too. I have seen some reports that people back in the day would actually carry these all of the time with them as a form of self-defense. Don't know how effective that is or even necessarily if it's true, but it is a fun little factoid. The point on the end of this can be used like an awl or like a pricker. Again, cutting down on the number of things you have to carry and adding to the versatility of the item. But the ways in which it can be used to hold a candle are also numerous. So the way a tool like this is characterized is it has a socket on one side that the candle fits into, it's got a point on one end and some sort of rounded or butted end on the other side, and then there is a hook, which probably the camera is going to have a little trouble picking up, but there is a hook that stands right next to the candle that comes up out on the top. So the most normal and intuitive way that you would use this is you would take some sort of blunt instrument, hopefully not something that's also metal because then you risk damaging both of your tools, but you would pound that into the round end here so that the point drives into whatever it is you'd like the candle to come out of. That could be the beam on the inside of a house, that could be a tree, that could be a cave wall, that could be between two bricks in some sort of dungeon hallway, and that is going to allow you to keep a candle there. Has anyone wondered why in fantasy adventures there are just braziers and torches set about just so that the adventurers can have some sort of light while they're going into an abandoned cave that no one's been in for centuries? I often wonder that too, but if you're carrying something like this, you can light your own way. And as many people know, the Hollywoodism of everyone back in the Middle Ages carrying large torches right up at their eye level while they're trying to see in the dark is going to ruin your night vision, it's going to be incredibly hot, and it's not very safe to use because you can't put it down anywhere convenient and it kind of just has to burn and it's a huge flame that's like right next to you. A candle is a more historically accurate thing to use. Now, depending on the time period and the location, historically speaking, candles might have been a little bit more on the rare side, but they probably still would have been used more than torches would, especially indoors. I mean, that's just a hazard waiting to happen. Now, I have experimented going on adventures with some sort of oil lamp or oil lantern, and while oil lamps, very primitive ones, were used in the medieval period, I don't think they travel particularly well, especially the ones that are historically accurate because they will leak. They're not sealed tightly. You have to keep them completely level, so very difficult to pack or travel with. And they also don't have the added utility of being able to just like put them into a wall. So another way that you can use this is the hook up here that's on the top. This can go up on the edge of a table, it can go on the back of a chair, it can go onto a tree stump as I have pictured here, and that will also allow you to keep the candle upright without having to actually nail it into something. Another way this could be used, and I don't know if this is accurate at all, I don't know if this is a proper way to use this, but there's nothing stopping you from doing it, is if you use the loop and just hook it over a nail or a small broken off tree branch or something like that, and it just stays like this. Now, obviously that means that with a candle like this, the flame is going to be coming out sideways, it's probably not going to burn very well, and you're going to have wax dripping all over the floor. But bending a candle like this is actually fairly easy. All you gotta do is heat it up, let it soak in some water, some warm water for a little bit, and they are bendable. And then you can bend the candle so it fits into the socket like this, and now all of a sudden you have a wall-mounted candle holder. This thing is just so versatile. And if while you're on your adventures you have a slightly nicer setup with a tent that you can either sit in or even has maybe a little table in it, you can bring this inside so you can see in the dark inside of your tent, where you couldn't do that with a torch because you'd light the whole thing on fire, it would be way too hot, but a candle puts out a pretty impressive amount of heat in a small enclosed space, and this could help keep you warm if you needed it to inside your tent. And holding it like this, like you would hold any other candle holder, is incredibly comfortable. So that is how you use a miner's spike. In my opinion, this is the epitome of an adventuring candle holder because there's just so many different ways that you can use it and it will adapt to any situation that you're in. If you ever see someone making one of these or selling one of these, pick one up as quick as you can because I genuinely think it doesn't get better than this. No other style of candle holder is going to hold a candle to this one. I have always wanted one of these, and I'm so happy that I have one now to add to my kit because the minute that I learned about what they were, I wanted one because I knew how useful it would be. So that's gonna do it for this video, and we'll see you very, very soon. In the meantime, I'd like to wish you good luck on your adventures.